that, something that Maria and I have often said to each other. We meet them not only where they are, but whatever it takes. It's times we've thrown people in our cars and taken them to Social Security. There's times that we've tried to make appointments with different embassies. A lot of the stuff that is behind the scenes that you guys really don't see, but we are constantly working to help this individual improve their life and move into a space where they should be and they deserve to be.
So does anyone have a question? And I think this is a tough act to follow here. I'm very humbled. But does anyone here have a question that you would like to ask? Barbara.
If I'm not being too personal, how did you become homeless? Because you said you had a background in real estate.
It's a series of unfortunate events.
Just share, not too much, just whatever you want to share.
I was married, and my husband decided that he wanted to move back to Mississippi with his mom and not be a husband or a father anymore. So I stayed with my parents, and then my parents split up, and my father ended up in a motel for a while. He lived in the motel for about a year. And then my mom downsized to a small apartment, and she would help us out as much as she could, but we didn't want to jeopardize where she lived. And I was going to school down here. I was living in Lancaster. I was going to school out. No, I wasn't going to school out here first. I was working out here, commuting. I was doing whatever I could take. I worked a few short sales and things like that that took a long time to close. So I bounced around a lot. Everywhere was far out, but Los Angeles is where everything was kind of happening for me. Projects, little side projects I would do, like additions, drawing up the blueprints for them. Whether it was like an actual listing, like whatever it was, it kind of put me in the Los Angeles area. I started driving Uber and Lyft to try to make up for money in the meantime. I was going to school when I could. I stopped going to school because I get A's. I don't like B's. And I really couldn't focus on school because I had so much. I had three, when my husband left, I had a 3-year-old, a 1-year-old, and a 3-month-old. I had 2 carriers and a toddler, so it was rough, to say the least. And just a lot of things just kept happening, bouncing around from Lancaster to San Bernardino County to Tustin but when I decided I was gonna go back to school, because as I have a raw talent, but an education behind it, kind of had me stuck. So, and also my children were always being left with somebody else to take care of. And they were getting older. My children are going to be productive, intelligent, not going to be, they already are productive, intelligent, wonderful little human beings. My children won't be statistics. They're not going to end up in a jail cell. They're not going to end up in the graveyard behind something preventable. They're going to have a mother that can actually be there to raise them. So I figured, I can go to school, and while I go to school, they can go to school. We can come home and, we can do homework together. We can go to bed. I got a job before I even was planning on it, so then that complicated my schedule again, but I've just always had an issue of kind of overwhelming myself, like taking on too much. So my goal was to just kind of simplify. I didn't know I was going to end up on the streets, but it is what it is. We're there, we're transitioning out of there, but I don't know if that's pretty vague, but...
No, it's wonderful. Any other questions from anyone? Yes.
So I work alongside some of the agencies, and so what is it that those of you that have, have changed your circumstances, what is the difference that Maureen and Landa provided for you
They
that other
came on
people?
site, they came to us. We didn't have to build it up.
Where my connection was their realness. Maureen,
Yeah.
specifically Maureen, don't get me wrong, this is a great team. Great team. You know, but I was bad, and I just felt like I was abusing Glenda. Because she's like this sweet lady, great intentions, but I just felt like I was out there. And she came, she gave it to me raw, she didn't give me options. She's like, this is not you. She came from this, she'd been there, done that, but it was more than that. It was more, I don't know if she saw something in me specifically, but it was always something that made me run back to Maureen, made me trust her. There was times that I'm like, really, my voucher? No, they're gonna try to take my kid away. I'm at San Michelle, they're gonna try to take my kid away. Every night. And until this day, about 45 minutes ago, I still had that fear. But you know what? That's always something because I'm always, in my head, there's always these, I don't know, it was just a big fear. And her realness was like, no, I have your back. This is what we're gonna do. All I need is you to do this. And as long as I kept my end, she was pulling in weight. I mean, back to back. I would be calling Maureen, and I'm like, Maureen, I need this. The doctor said, I'm already on it. Maureen, they're not doing this. I'm already on it. Like, she was always 2 steps ahead of me, to where I was calling her because I needed something. She was like, I already got it. Sit back, relax. And that's where she caught me. That's where I was like, I trust you. And even though I was still questioning her, like, Maureen, really? Is it really happening? Am I really going to be off the streets? Like, really? And she's like, yes. And then time started adding up, and I was in a woman's home, and I'm like, I still don't have my apartment. And then I started feeling down. And I just had her, so my hormones are going everywhere. Maureen's at the woman's home, visiting me every week. She's there, like, nonstop. I could text, call this lady at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, because I've done it. And best believe there's a call or text within the 30 minutes. No, I've done it. Have I done it?
Yes.
Like I said, and she was there. So for me, clicking with Maureen was her realness.
So it's their ability to connect with you and for you to
Yeah.
begin to trust them. And Bobby, can you say a little bit more? You started to say they came on site.
They came to us.
They came to you. Can you say a little bit more about that? Because this question, it is, what I heard you say too that resonated with me is that the other agencies weren't working.
No.
So we very much want to know what is working here. So Bobby, speak to that.
OPCC didn't work either until these people came around.
Homeless outreach work.
I was getting my
OPCC
bail
does not
with
work.
OPCC since 2000,
Uh-huh.
all right? And every time I try to get better about myself there, nothing happened. It was there, you gotta keep coming, you gotta go here, gotta go there, gotta go here. I only got $200 in my pocket. I can't get on the bus every day, you know? And like I say, patience.
Patience.
Unbelievable patience for her. Because I
So-
was too busy, you know, with my pride up and all the rest of that. I don't need nothing, you know, blah, blah, blah. You gotta bow down sometimes and, you know, eat a little crow and let people help you. And thank you for that.
So it is what that they came to you.
Yes.
And they connected with you and were committed to you. And that's very much what our model is, that I don't think anybody else, any other community is doing, that we are making possible here, although we have an amazing outreach team. But that it is that commitment to make that resource available 24/7, 7 days a week, and to come out. Any other questions? Because I know we have people that really want to hear it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want to go ahead?
I just wanted to say that they were accessible, like, the other agency was just, I could call them 1,000,000 times in one day, I could call them 1,000,000 times in 1 month, and I wasn't able to get through. It wasn't until I met Ms. Glenda that they actually started calling me. Once I was in the shelter, I still hadn't heard from them. I think you guys have to reconnect me with them, and they were like, okay, who's your case manager? I don't know. Well, they're like, well, we don't know either. Well, they were accessible. I could call them, and they would call me back. Like, that's just one major difference. I'll move on.
Okay, wonderful. Dee Dee.
Well, I don't know if this works.
Yes,
I just wanted to mention, I'm a new member of the outreach team, and this woman, right here, Sharon, is unbelievable, because what I've learned from her, I think I have hiked every inch of Temescal Canyon and the bluffs. But Sharon and the outreach team, they seek people out and very kindly and very diplomatically offer services. So again, what I've seen is such a difference, is finding people, being kind to them, and offering help, not, gosh, you're trespassing, you have to get out of here, you shouldn't be here. It's always with kindness, and I've been very impressed, and it's remarkable.
Any other questions? Mary and Sharon, I know you had your hand up. Mary and I'll come back to Sharon. And the lights may go out in a few minutes, but Doug will turn them on. Okay. Okay.
I would like to ask Maureen and Glenda, had you worked for OPCC before?
Yes, I've been with the agency for about 5 years, but in a different position.
But isn't this a lesson to that agency and to other agencies that the road to success is personal contact with people?
Yeah, it is. Our agency has a good track record. Our agency, I like the people concerned. I love the agency that I work for, because they don't make it just about numbers or about statistics or what they have to meet. They make it about the people. And we have been fortunate enough as to do this, which makes me and Glenda accountable to these individuals. The fact that we showed up every single day out on the beach, out in the bluffs, chasing them down. This is what we can do for you, and then we followed through.
Yeah.
So we stayed accountable. We did what we said we were going to do. And we would hear it from a lot of the individuals out there that, this outreach team was here. They said they'd be back. That was 3 months ago, but when me and Glenda showed up, we said we'll be back tomorrow, and we came back tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or I'll meet you here on Tuesday at 10 o'clock. We were there on Tuesday at 10 o'clock. This is what we can do. This is what I need you to do, your part, so I can make the rest of this happen. And we were accountable for that.
And they helped us fill out the paperwork too. Like, a lot of people will tell you, go do this, go do that, and it's like, what? Like, if you didn't understand, like, they will sit you down and like, no, okay, and help you go through it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's completely different. They want you to have it. Like, other people act like
Mary, I don't know, but I think partly what it is that they, because of this project, they have been able to be dedicated to this community. A lot of outreach teams have to move throughout Los Angeles. They can't be. Yes, and our goal is, at the end of 2018, to be able to maybe go to the county and ask the county to start to help us replicate this model in other communities. Because to have an outreach team that comes by every 3 months is very different, and I'm hearing you affirm that. It's very different than having a team that's here, 5 days a week, and that partly is the difference too, I think. Right?
Yeah, I would agree that is the difference, because we do have an outreach team, but it was just one guy that was covering a large area. So now this is the first time that this model has been tried and done and has been very successful. And with the explosion of the homeless population, more teams are being sent out, and they're becoming a little bit more targeted. Like, they'll have an E6 team, but that E6 team before had to cover a large area, but now they're giving them specialized areas that they're working in. So I think they're moving in that direction, but this...
To bring it down, the territory you have to cover, to bring it down. Otherwise, when you spread it out, there's just way too much, and it's too impersonal. Here in the Palisades, me and Glenda are just here in the Palisades. So it's really personal. It's personal with the people that we meet out on the streets, and it's personal with the community. We're all in this, and we are all connected together. And like I said, we do. We are accountable to the people that we serve.
You remembered my name.
Sharon had a question. She's been real patient here.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, Yaya, I have a question for you.
I knew it. I knew it. You've been curious about me for a while. Come on, Sharon.
Now, I want to know how traumatic for you it was when you had the fire in the Villa Bluffs, because I know we had the fire, you were up there, you were living in an encampment, we had over 57
I
encampments
had two encampments.
in the Villa Bluffs.
There's a lot
And,
of people up there.
okay,
Man,
so then we put the fire signs in, but then we had the fire before, and you were there. What I want to know from you is, how did that change? Did you feel threatened and you had lost your home there? And
honestly, yeah. I became, where I was at that point, and especially in my addiction, I was no longer looking for a way out. I was looking for a way to survive, to feel comfortable. And yes, I felt like my home was taken because I took time to build that home. I did not just have a tent, I had 3 tents in my encampment. I had solar panels in my encampment to charge I had 3 solar panels, a car battery, and an inverter, and I would charge my car battery with my solar panel, and I used to charge myself. I didn't have to leave the camp for nothing. I could charge, I had my little tablet, and I used to sit in my tent. And I remember I used to go out looking at night, and I had this ice chest that I used to stick all my snacks in because I had my food stamps. And the first to the third of the month, here I am with my bike and my cart. I'm heading to Vaughn's with $100 for groceries. I go back, I had my partner, we have like a crate. He's like pulling out ropes with groceries. We fill up our ice chest, and we're chilling. And I swear, there was times that when I used to panhandle, Sharon knows me, Patrick, Carlos, all of you guys, I used to hold my banner and walk up Chautauqua Hill every day. And I used to go, I even bought plants from Vaughn's. I had 2 palm trees. I had 2 palm trees, and I had a rose bush. And the night of the fire, I was devastated because I was creative. I had this big old canopy, and my partner went and carried rocks, and we had like this rock table. We had a 2-burner stove with propane. So I used to give my food stamps, go shop. I'm not a thief, you know. I used to shop, go home, cook, make sure all my electronics were charged up. When I used to start hearing the skunks and the coyotes and the raccoons, I used to hide my tent. I had a separate half tent with the hole and a bucket for my restroom, and I used to take my bags, dig holes and bury my, I used to go down to the beach with 2 5-gallon buckets, and I used to soak my clothes in one with detergent. I used to rinse in the other. I used to go back to my camp, and I had this big old rope on my canopy. I used to dry myself there, go down to the beach for a soak, down to the tunnel to chill, go back, fold my clothes, put them in my tent. The next day it was my blankets. It was my home, you guys. But it was like I had my bathroom, my living room. I used to see the dolphins from the top there on the ocean. To hear the people upstairs talking mess about them. Look up there, they need to get out of there. F them. I used to hear all that. Yeah, that was my home. I used to come in and I protected that home a lot. And when the first fire happened, I was devastated. Man, I was so hurt when the firefighters came down and said we had to get out and there was a fire. And I was even more pissed off when I found out it was Trevor. So
She knew.
yeah, so I was even more mad. And then when the second fire broke out a couple days later, because I defended my home, I was accused for the fire. And sorry. Anyways, I was devastated, Karen.
Thank you.